Hi. So this was not supposed to be in the thumbnail, but hey, it is what it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to It Is What It Is When It Is Tarot, where it is what it is when it is, and it ain't what it ain't when it isn't. The sun is there again. I woke up like in such a good mood today. The sun in the dreamland. So somebody said Neptune went into Aries, and maybe she did. Um, that's so interesting. The Nine of Cups and the Ten of Wands, the World and the Tower, the Ace of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. This, it gives me an energy that also today I'm listening to. I was going to listen to Lo-Fi Girl. You know, we used to study together back in the day, in the university days, in the college days. But I wasn't feeling the mix. She was in Pomodoro. But then I saw the Good Morning Jazz, the relaxing bossa nova from Relax Lobby something. And I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've done like a morning jazz in the ears, you know? So that's what we're doing today. This is so interesting. Okay, so I split the deck and it was the Dreamland and the Sun. And then it was the Ten of Wands, the Nine of Cups, the Tower, and the World. So there's almost, and then remaining, what's left is the Ace of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. So it's like as things, see, now this is loud and distracting. Ugh. I was like, oh, it's like kind of festive and it's cute because there are bells, like, you know, not jingle bells necessarily. I don't know what else to call them. I like a tambourine. There's tambourines that sound like jingle bells, I guess. Um, but yeah, it is a little distracting. I don't want to turn it off, but I think I might have to anyway. It's fine. With the Dreamland, the Ten of Wands, and the Tower. With the Dreamland and the Ten of Wands, the weight of some kind of dream was heavy. And if like the material 3D plane is dense and the immaterial dream, unconscious, subtle realm, if something in the subtle realm is dense, oh girl, she's giving constipation. Because it's like if it's dense in the subtle, then it's going to be like super dense. And so she's also giving, you know, the birth canal with this world card. But, you know, she's giving things that I don't want to have, I don't want to think about honestly. She's giving staples, she's giving sutures, she's giving needles and thread. Um, but on the material side, it's something that we realize we want. There's a lot of X's and I's, right? The sun is XIX. The Nine of Cups is IX. The world is XXI. Um, yeah, it's something. Yeah, I'm gonna turn this off. I'll just turn it down. We'll see. It's something that we realize that we wanted, right? And I almost wonder. It feels like we would feel the reverberations of the effects of the tower. If the tower happens in the subtle, we would feel it in the material. And what we're feeling in the material as the effects of the tower is like, are these shifts of things closing and opening. You can say it's ecliptic because what's being eclipsed out of your life, you know? And that did just happen like less than a week ago. And it feels like most of the weight was actually born for us, or it hasn't been fully felt materially, which leads to this Ace of Wands and Six of Pentacles. This feels like today, the Six of Pentacles is reading like something that's done out of necessity, and the Ace of Wands is something that is desired. And so it's like it's being presented to this person almost in a very Five of Cups way, because this person is, the character is looking over here, but the Ace of Wands is behind him. Like the three spilled cups are on the left, and then behind them is the two upright cups. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, that's not why I got on here today. But when I saw the sign in the dreamland, I was like, oh, that's interesting. She's intriguing. What I am going to do today, I played around with it a little bit yesterday. I don't fully remember why we're doing this or why I like wanted to do this, but you know. Oof, the devil in the dreamland. No. What's under the devil? The Four of Cups and the High Priestess. This is so interesting. The devil, the Four of Cups, and the High Priestess. There's one part of this that feels like temptation, and there's another part that feels like distraction. And maybe also another part of not self-doubt, not faith, of recognition, maybe. Almost like all four of these cups, all four of these options, someone is like waiting for something to happen, right? The same dreamland, because the dreamland was at the bottom. Now the devil is here at the cut. This person is waiting. It's like four options are presented. Excuse me. Three of them are devil energy, one of them is not. This person has to discern. I was like, what's the word? This person has to discern which is which. And the high priestess here feels like the energy of the divine that allows us choice, that may not necessarily say. But it feels like it plays on or it preys on old sentiments, old beliefs, old versions of the self. Now the Queen of Wands is here with the Dreamland. I was looking at those sunflowers. The Queen of Wands is, I guess you could say, a minor sun card, pictorially at the very least. But on the sun card, we see a child. On the Queen of Wands, we see an adult. There's something that's been retained throughout one's adulthood, right? As someone's grown up. Anyway, that's not why I'm here. I wanted to look before and after High Priestess energies on the X, Y, and Z plane. I would do more dimensions, but speaking of the 3D. Oh, okay. All right, nice. All right. So I kind of like I ran through this. Death is at the bottom now. I ran through this a few times yesterday to see, like, I know how I want to pull the cards, but to see how I wanted to lay them out. If I had more space, I would lay them out in a different way because it almost gives a certain chronology. But I don't. So I tested like three different layouts and I found one that I really like. I found one that works. This death card is so interesting. And the Seven of Wands and the Hierophant. The Two of Swords is under it. So I'm looking before the minor, major, and pre High Priestess. Minor High Priestess for me is the Two of Swords. Pre High Priestess is the Queen of Cups. The High Priestess is the High Priestess. I'm going to pull three cards before and after the minor, two cards before and after pre, and then one card before and after the major. I'm going to leave the clarifiers in the deck so that if they come out for another one, they can. I'm going to go for the first card that I see. I guess if one girly comes out after the next one, I'll do a modified whatever. Hey, Holly, how you doing? 2006, I was a child. I don't. I see so many like astrology people who are like, "What were you doing in like 2006 and 19 whatever?" I'm like, "Girl, in 2006, I was what, eighth grade or a freshman going into high school. I don't know. I ain't lived enough life for that to anyway. But who knows? Maybe I was like last night. I watched. It was '90s and early 2000s cartoon themes. Like guess the song or guess the cartoon. They played 20 seconds of the theme. So some of those shows were 2006. I guess there's a synchronicity. But how are you doing? Excuse me. This death card and the Nine of Wands was under the Six of Pentacles. It was under the card on the left. Um, it feels like not that death is a vampire, but it feels like as death has come to this person, the sun has risen. Like they made it to the next day. So death won't collect because I guess death only comes under the cover of night. I mean, it doesn't, but that's what it feels like. And then to have the Seven of Wands under it, again, like, and it's not the Nine of Wands, which is interesting. It's the Seven of Wands. This is someone in a position of advantage because of what they've accomplished in the past. They have an advantage. And then under that is the Hierophant. So here we see faith, intuition, and discernment. She's reading like faith, intuition, and discernment today. Glad to hear it. Today I woke up, I don't know, I just been in like such a good mood today. We met a neighbor Friday? Saturday. Saturday evening, I believe. We saw one of our neighbors as we were waiting for the lift, and we saw him this morning. And uh, the mom was like, "How are you?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm feeling good today. I don't know why. I just woke up feeling good today. The sun was at the bottom of the deck. The jazz has like tambourines or jingle bells. She's festive. It feels like the past few days I've been having them kind of frequent, not necessarily all the time, but fairly frequently lately. I've been having these days where things don't necessarily fall apart, but it's where I really ask myself what it is that I want. And it's kind of hard to not hard to come up with an answer. Kirsty, hello, how are you doing today? Um, Not that it's hard to come up with an answer, but it feels like I don't know if it's the Taurus in me. It's just how I operate. It's easier for me to do stuff when I have like a goal or some kind of direction or a guideline. Because without that, I'm like all over the place. And so it's like, instead of like analysis paralysis, it's like this multitasking. I'm doing so much that like nothing gets done. And so for the past few days, I've had the opportunity, question mark, I've had to take the space to really like sit with myself and kind of ask myself those questions and like kind of sort of not being able to come up with an answer and then thinking about like external forces, weighing external motivations versus internal motivations, knowing and realizing ultimately that some of the pressures like don't matter, and still just like, what do I want? But today my mind is whatever, and I feel like the dreams have been dreaming. so so I feel like most nights, even when I go to sleep, it's like I wake up and I don't necessarily feel like super refreshed, you know what I was gonna drink a crispy Coca-Cola full sugar original, the OG, because sometimes it's hard to come across something that's like not diet or zero. So when you see the original full sugar, and full sugar over here may be like less sugar than, anyway. Um, I was gonna drink that, but I took one sip and I was like, oh no, it was kind of warm. It wasn't cold enough. I guess I could have poured it over ice. My water's almost gone anyway. I feel like I'm rambling now. That's fine. So, the position of advantage, what someone was standing on, was their faith, intuition, discernment, or was good habits, good routines, something that has become like structured within someone's life, gave them an edge in making it through a long night. And it almost feels like there's a conversation here that happens between death and this individual. So I'm gonna pull before and after the Nine of Wands, and we're gonna see. The Emperor was with the Moon, by the way. The Emperor's been coming out in some interesting positions lately. Oop. Whoa, whoa! The Majors. That run of cards was interesting. Six of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, King of Swords. This is such an interesting conversation. I gotta move these down. There's the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is after the King of Swords. So we have the Ten of Wands and the Five of Cups. Speaking of the Emperor was next to the Moon. Last time we saw the Emperor. Oh, 1 second. OMG, I didn't even put the AFK screen on. Oh well, it's fine. There's a delivery. I forgot that there's going to be a grocery delivery. So there's going to be a long pause, I guess, at some point. I feel like there's I don't know if it's Bible, I don't know if it's scripture or if it's a saying, but there's faith without works is dead. Oh, lol, literally. Faith without works is dead. But this is a faith that's had the work put in, which again is why it maintains someone through a long night. I'm not going to say a darkest night. But again, what I'm seeing in the Six of Pentacles is like the work. Like this is, you could call it charity, but like this is someone who shows up in the real world who does whatever it is that is for them to do. And it's almost like even death is telling the person, it is because of the work that you've put in that you've had this mental clarity. The King of Swords is giving me a mental clarity. It's like, and the vice versa. Oh, 1 second. Oh. Oof. Oh my gosh. The reason why I started doing whatever is because, oof, I remember that one time I was live. I was like, I need an AFK screen, but it's fine. Hey, my number one fan is in the chat. I had a feeling I would see you today. Oh, it is scripture. James 2 and 26. Aren't there two Jameses? Or no? First and second James? Or no? Maybe, I don't know. Anyway. Um, so it's like even death is having this conversation that's like it's because of your works that you make it through, that you've made it through this long night. Or the works is what again. Oh, so I was saying in the vice versa, just one James. Okay. Well, then what am I thinking? First and second Samuel, first and second Kings, first and second Chronicles. Anyway. It was actually Mother's Day here Sunday. I almost texted you. But but I didn't. I guess you get the Mother's Day in May. It was Mother's Day and the time went up. Yeah. And this almost feels like it may be like the only confirmation. And this card, it's not without clouds, but the sky is like relatively clear, even without all of the stuff that one didn't know. There's still a mental like clarity here. Because there's a mental clarity here, because it's reading like mental clarity, it almost feels like there's some kind of illusion that would have been here. And I don't have a card. I mean, this isn't necessarily. Let's see. Through the cards that are remaining, because I went through most of the deck, I'm going to see if I can find one. Oh, well, there's the devil. The devil is in between the hermit and the two of cups. On the other side of the two of cups is the lovers. The hermit is after this five of cups. Under the lovers is the eight of wands and the six of cups. This is so interesting. Yep. Oh, look, the sun! The sun is at the cup with the lovers! Was the sun at the bottom of the deck again? No, because these were the cards at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. That sun is just, I love it. There's almost this energy. Because, so these are the cards that I went for. Oh, yeah. Kirsty, that's my mom. Mom, that's Kirsty. My mom's heard all about you. She's like, have you seen Kirsty yet? I was like, not yet. Anyway, it's fine. So, whatever this, wait, this is the reason why I'm looking before and after the high priestess. I was like, I forgot why I was looking before and after the high priestess. It's because the last time there was something that it was like the anchor, something that gravitates other things to it to give some internal workings. Oh, never mind. Excuse me. That gives this internal shift something to center on. Um, if we will, yeah, it'll happen one way or another. Um, oh wow, they're like on time today. Everybody's on time today, bright and early. Love it. So the reason why I picked up my phone and the reason why I was looking before and after the high priestess is because last time when I was first imaging, imagining, visualizing, seeing with my mind's eye, the anchor, it was like black. But when the high priestess revealed itself at the center of all those cards in my mind's eye, it was luminous. So that's when it, like, I was like, oh, it's like a solar system, orbits, blah, blah, blah. Um, and then I was like, oh, well, like, let's see, because it was the high priestess. And then the next day, I went down to the water and I saw this yellow ball floating in the water. In the water. There it is. And it was like, I saw this yellow ball. You see the yellow ball? Okay, so first I saw the yellow ball in the water, but the sun was also out. So when I took the picture, I had to take the picture of the yellow ball in the path of the sunlight on the water. So that's what that is. See, and then there's the yellow ball. I was like, oh, because I was thinking about it, and then I saw the yellow ball. Uh, and today, the way that I'm going to read this, if everything goes according to plan, um, because I'm not taking, it's like the high priestess, the pre high priestess, and the minor high priestess are all converging on one moment. But there's the X plane, the Y plane, and then the Z plane. Now, because I'm operating with flat cards on a flat surface, I have to approximate the Z plane. But the middle point, the because I'm not taking the significators, there's going to be a gap where that card is. So anyway, but it's been coming out. I think it came out. I know it came out recently. I think it was when I was using the program, um, and it was some inner. It's like it's almost like so going back to the tower. Something happened that could have rocked someone like to their core, and it was like it was going deeper and deeper and deeper, but it's almost like at a certain point, I don't know if, according to the cards, it's because of one's faith, intuition, discernment, paired with how they show up in the real world, paired with how they exercise and maintain their faith, intuition, and discernment. That's what gave someone some kind of clarity in a situation that should have been maybe not impossible, or at least extremely difficult. But it feels like with the Hermit and this Two of Cups, it was like there was the revelation of something deeper that happened as this tower was happening, or you know, almost like, let's say that someone faith, intuition, discernment plus the works are happening. There's a situation that could have been a test of faith or whatever, but the situation, something that happens in the situation, like solidified, enhanced, uh powered up someone's like faith, intuition, and discernment in a way of like validation, right? Like even amidst this trial, even amidst this tower moment, even amidst this darkest night, something of my faith, intuition, discernment, belief is validated and strengthened. Oh, now the Ten of Pentacles is at the bottom. Anyway, this is not what I was necessarily getting on here for. Oh, you can even, well, see, this Hermit has a vantage point that is almost like beyond above the clouds, which is interesting to. Cool. All right. So I also have the program pulled up, as you can see from the thumbnail. And I wanted to do, maybe I'll just do one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The groceries are on their way. Oh, who was that? Death almost went reverse. The Magician. Okay. I feel like these are bending. Ooh, the Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. What? Death in the Ace of Pentacles. The way I'm looking at it, it's like that. So what if like, okay, that's fine. it's fine. Ooh, Judgment just flipped out. And Temperance, which is interesting. I think Judgment, Temperance, and the Lovers are the three majors where you can see the angels. Two of them flipped out. Judgment, because Judgment is on top of the clouds, Judgment is in the same place as the Hermit. So definitely validating that. Um, oh, the Ten of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. Death and Resurrection, but the Ten of Swords and Judgment. Also, in Temperance, the Sun is there rising in the back. It's validating something. Validating the empowering, the strengthening of one's intuition and discernment, or validating how divinely connected or in tune someone is. Because that hermit that was standing above the clouds is in the same position as Judgment, the angel in this Judgment card, above the clouds. There's something happening on Earth. I don't know. Anyway, all right. I'll give it two shuffles and a cut, and then I'm going to pull before, so 3 cards before and after, and I'm going to pull from the top of the deck. So face down. 3 cards before and after the Two of Swords, 2 cards before and after the Queen of Cups, and 1 card before and after the High Priestess. I'm going to leave the significators in the deck. And there's going to be like an XYZ plane. And we're going to figure it out as we go. Right? So we have the 4 of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Tower as the 3 initial cards. These cards are rough. Because it's like as someone is recuperating from one happening, almost like rebuilding their life, like getting back into a flow, into a routine, then this Tower happens. And the Empress is after that Tower. Interesting. Because the Empress is after the Tower, now this is an energy of like, ooh, no, I want a biscuit. I'm so hungry. It's fine. I haven't eaten yet. It's fine. I guess I'll have lunch. So this is someone not being able to do something the way that they used to do it. And it's either because like someone knows something now that changes the game, or someone has become someone, something, again, just like something has changed so that whatever was done to cultivate success, to nurture something in the past, it doesn't work anymore. But this is so, it's like, It's weird because usually I feel like in real life, usually we don't learn more, grow, evolve, change, take on more responsibility, but then we aren't able to do the things that we used to do before. 1 second. I'm gonna put up the AFK screen because the groceries are here. All right, I'm back. So, for anyone that had to maybe leave, seems like no one did, but anyway, it's fine. I know it's quickly approaching someone's bedtime out there. Whew. So I was thinking about it. The only thing from my experience that I can think of, it's like if you're taking a class that's like math. Like I feel like there's been math classes or like physics or whatever, fluid dynamics. And it's like you're learning more and more complex things. And then you're given a problem that's like from earlier in the material or from like previous years. And the problem is so like since you're in the habit of thinking and very complex, complicated, using all these formula, whatever, it's like you don't realize how simple the problem is until like whatever. You're like, oh, girl, we're over here doing whatever. This is like it was that. But because this is the Empress, I can see this being I can see it being related to something like something related to integrity, something related to creativity, or something related to yeah, I was like, I know it's somebody bedtime. I need a retwist, but it's fine. Or it's related to someone's, I guess you could say sovereignty, self autonomy, right? It's like the Empress is of such a state that, um, oh, oof, that's a good question. Patrick don't even. I've been to the gym all of maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times this year. Oof. I think it's time for that Coke. Um, this video isn't sponsored by Coca Cola, obviously. But it's like because of the Empress's status, there are certain things that aren't done for her. There are certain things that she has to do herself, right? And so for the Empress to conduct herself or her activities or whatever in a way that is like dependent or reliant upon someone else doing everything, it's not going to work. Right? It's like if you go off grid, then all of the food you have to produce, the tending to the soil you have to do, the watering, if it ain't getting enough rain, you got to do, like whatever. So you don't have the same convenience of just like going to the grocery store and doing whatever, or you got to like figure out how you're going to get electricity if you want electricity. You got to figure out how you're going to live. And I feel like, I assume that there are people who go off grid and then realize that there are all kind of like little things that they didn't even realize they had the convenience of living their old life because there were things that you didn't have to think about. Cool. All right. So that's the first 3 to 4. Which I mean, ultimately, it's like it's a good thing, you know, that you are so whatever Empress, whoever this would resonate for. Oh, the moon is at the bottom of the deck. I didn't mean to look, but I did it instinctively. So we're looking for the Two of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and the High Priestess. Oh my gosh, I feel like we're halfway through the deck. and none of them have revealed themselves. That means they're like all going to be together. Okay, we are like 2/3 through the deck, I feel like, and none of them have revealed themselves, which is fine. I'm just gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do this layout. The High Priestess, finally. King of Pentacles, High Priestess, and the Two of Wands. So the High Priestess goes back. And the Queen of Cups. So it's 2 cards. See, this is why I hope they were more spread out. So it was the King of Pentacles, the High Priestess, the Two of Wands, the King of Swords, the Queen of Cups. So the King of Wands, or the King of Swords and the Two of Wands is 2 before the Queen of Cups. The 3 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles is 2 after. How am I doing this? The 9 of Pentacles. Okay. Oh, now I got 3 cards. Oh my gosh. This is fine. It might work. The 2 of Swords. No! No! Goodness, I knew it was going to happen. Okay. So the Queen of Cups stays on the table because she is the 3rd card before the 2 of Cups. So this is such an interesting layout, and I think it just might fit, but now it's like every now and then I'll be like, okay, this is how I'm going to pull cards. And I'm like, what do I do in the event case and scenario that I get multiple clarifiers, significators that come out by each other? And I'm like, oh, I'll just do a hybrid thing. Hopefully it doesn't happen. And it almost always happens. I feel like whenever I have the thought of what do I do if my clarifier significators come out next to each other? They come out next to each other. Or it's like, what if my clarifier falls out of the deck? It falls out of the deck. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Because so she's the 3rd. I'll slide this one out. And I guess I'll just build this way again. I think I can scoot this back a little bit. Okay. Good. That gives me enough space. I'm just going to have to modify the presentation and mentally remember that, or maybe not. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. Can you see the cogs in my brain just like the smoke, the fire, the explosion? So I guess I'm going to do like an L shape. This F the dimensions all the way up. 6 of Wands, Justice, and the 6 of Cups. And the bottom of the deck was the moon. When I saw the moon at the bottom of the deck by accident, I should have known it was going to be after. Ooh, the 8 of Wands, though. Interesting. Okay. So what was supposed to operate across 3 dimensions. Oh, oh, wait, hold up. Boom. What's interesting, because of the cards that came out earlier. Also, this almost looks like a flower. Oh, this isn't here because I put her back. She's a significator. I'm not pulling the significators. The Queen of Cups, I put on the table so that I would remember the count for the cards. And she was the third card before the Two of Swords, so she ended up staying on the table. I was going to remove her, but I didn't have to. Because she was the third card on the table, there's one gap that isn't here because I was going to leave a gap between all the cards. But they were all connected. Because all the significators were connected, I couldn't build one plane and then another plane and then the other plane how I wanted to, because because of the positioning of the cards. And so also, it's not necessarily this singular void isolated moment that has all of these things happening around it that we are relatively aware or unaware of. Because the significators were connected, it's like it's branching in these different dimensions, but it's like connected. So I guess because the hermit was above the clouds or whatever, or because the cards that came out before, I shouldn't necessarily be extremely surprised. Because the Two of Swords is supposed to anchor a dimension, right? Or a layer of happenings or whatever. But because it was connected to the Queen of Cups, it actually like branches into her dimension. Which, if I was reading for a person, and I guess I am, or a collective, or whoever resonates, or whatever this is, to me, I would take it as like there is a bridge and a connection between the minor high priestess and the pre high priestess, which means like your intuition and discernment is healthy, right? If there's a connection there, if there's no gap between what you are most basely intuiting and what is happening behind the scenes, if they're connected, then like, hey, you're right, right? And likewise, for the Queen of Cups to come out so close to the High Priestess is like, it's almost like you're divining what you're meant to be divining. Again, for this, I shouldn't be surprised because of the cards that came out earlier. Faith, it's faith plus works, is why someone stood in the position of advantage that they had. It's why they made it through the long night. And then to be told by the energy of death that your works, your applied faith, intuition, discernment is what has given you a sense of clarity in the midst of all this confusion, even if you don't know everything. And then for that, like, what was the illusion to come out as like the hermit and the Two of Cups before and after the devil card? It's like you were like that the whole time. Like illusion, but illusion. Okay, I'm gonna go get my cup. My cup. I'm gonna go get the Coke. Oh, all right. I literally just had to step over to the fridge, but hey, that's fine. Um. Okay. This is not great. Excuse me. That's a shame. My taste buds have changed so much since I've been here for as long as I've been here, and because I've been eating the way I'm eating. And for my health, it's a good thing, but mentally, I'm just like, I I just want to enjoy the things that I used to enjoy. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to taste how sugary or sweet something is because I've been deprived. I haven't been. It's fine. I'm just like, oh, this is not giving what I was wanting, you know? Yeah, I'm not gonna drink this. At least not right now. I'm not enjoying this. One second. Mm. I forgot that I still have the program, right? That I can roll. Excuse me. And it just made me all burpy. Okay. So the cards that came out before and after the High Priestess is the King of Pentacles and the Two of Wands. The cards that came out before the Queen of Cups is the Two of Wands, the King of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles. The cards that came out before and after the Two of Swords is the Queen of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, followed by the Six of Wands, Justice, and the Six of Cups. And then even when I was doing it's like it's so much high priestess energy. It's so like intuitive, whatever. I'm like, what does this even mean? Just because I come up with the idea and I pull the cards doesn't necessarily mean I'll be able to interpret what's being communicated. Especially with the moon at the bottom of the deck. We saw the Ace of Pentacles and the Sun. Death. It was death in the Ace of Pentacles at the cut after the whole like what are all these cards. But also in the beginning, there was the Dreamland and the Sun with the Ten of Wands and the Tower on the side of the Dreamland and the Nine of Cups and the World on the side of the Sun. And it was like something that is so heavy and so dense, something that is so big, subtly, energetically, in the spirit that, oh, okay, that it's like it creates, I don't know if it's like chaos or pandemonium or what, because if the earth and earthly things are so dense, imagine something that is like spiritually dense. That is like coming into even denser form. But it reminds me, I think it was a few readings ago where I was just like listening yesterday and it sounded like earth being displaced because something under the earth was just like growing way too fast to the point of like scarring the earth. Because usually, a seed germinates, it pops up through the soil, and then over time it gets bigger. And so the process of like shifting, changing earth, the season is like much more gradual. But if this is like a seed immediately goes to the size of 1,000-year old whatever tree, it's like it's gonna leave some scarring, and that scarring is the same energy that was like the world card. It was the stitches, the sutures, the needle and thread. The I don't even want to go there because I've heard about tearing, and it's just it's too much. It's too much. Um, but it happens. The process of giving life, of birthing, is beautiful. It's gorgeous. But it's like that same vibe is here. Also, the Eight of Wands is like under this. The Eight of Wands was the card after the Six of Cups. So something's moving like real fast. Very Jack and the Beanstalk. Thank you. That is much more gentle and subtle and easy on the mind. It makes it. I haven't been having a lot of fizzy drinks lately, but Friday I had a Diet Coke, I think. And then Sunday I had a little bit of Coca Cola. All right, good night. I hope you get a full, night's rest. Love you too. I'm sure we'll talk soon. Um, it's also interesting because the high priestess, and of course the high priestess would be, or would do, but it's like the high priestess sees the beginning and the end. Excuse me. The high priestess sees this like Two of Wands character individual as this King of Pentacles, or sees that sees the Two of Wands as the King of Pentacles. And it's interesting that her gap is still there. So it's like King of Pentacles gap, Two of Wands, and then Two of Wands, King of Swords, the Queen of Cups, because she filled the gap with the Two of Swords, Three of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, and then the Six of Wands, Justice, and the Six of Cups. It's also interesting. So there's been a planar shift. Oh, okay, girl. I didn't even think about that. There's been a planar shift. Right. So usually the three planes intersect at the 0, 0, 0 mark, right? So if you look at the x-axis from negative infinity to positive infinity, the y-axis intercepts it at 0. And then if you look at the y-axis from negative infinity to positive infinity, it intercepts the x and z axes at 0. And then the z-axis from negative infinity to positive infinity intercepts the x and y planes, I guess, at 0. So 0, 0, 0 is where they all meet and intersect. The Queen of Cups has shifted the y-axis to +1 because the Two of Wands was the second card before the Queen of Cups. So I just started her axis right there. The Two of Swords shifted the Z axis by 1 on the X axis. And I guess technically it's positive, right? Oh, girl, I'm confusing myself trying to think about it. I'll just draw it for you. How about that? I will draw you a representation of this because I can. I left my phone, so I had to run some groceries downstairs. That's why it took me a little longer to put them away. Okay, so I will draw you what this was supposed to look like, and then I will illustrate for you, excuse me, what it looked like. So you have like X. Uh, so this was HP for High Priestess. This is how it came out. Usually, I had the thought to do the High Priestess as the Z axis, the Queen of Cups as the Y, and then the Two of Swords as the X. Because usually we can interpret most easily, or our pattern recognition fills in the gaps of like linear time, like yesterday into tomorrow. And then we intuit, we discern the subtle reasons, subtle things that are going on in these greater sort of designs with the y-axis. But then, like, in the third dimension that we live and perceive, and kind of sort of beyond, but reduced to the third dimension as the limit of our capability of perceiving depth, is the High Priestess. But I decided whatever order they come out in is the order I'll take it in. Right. So this is how it came out here. This is the Queen of Cups. And then this is the Two of Swords. Was it this one or this one? So we have -1, 0, 1. But then it's, oh gosh, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. But this 0 is actually -3. Oh, why did this one? Oh, I think I accidentally did something. -3, -2. This is so hard to see. Oh, goodness. I'm like struggling today, y'all. Yeah, I accidentally reduced the thickness or the opacity. There we go. -3, -2, -1, and then 1. Because this would be the 0. And then, see, now it's okay. I have to put these on the left side because if I put them on the right side, they will interfere. -3, -2, -1, and then 1, 2, 3. I don't like how I wrote those. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So ideally, it would have looked like -1, 0, 1, and -1, -2, 1, 2 with the 0, and then -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3 with this 0. Goodness. All right. So, oops. And now I'm like, so ideally, and again, this is based off of the order that the cards came out in. This is like the axes, right? So the High Priestess was on the X, the Queen of Cups is on the Y, and then the Two of Swords is on the Z plane, depth up and down. I can't do up and down because I can't stack cards in the air. So, we make do. So, oh gosh. Oof, oof. How do I undo? Where's my undo? Where's the undo? There we go. So this is what the cards would have looked like if my significators didn't run into each other. Right? And that empty space would have been there on all of them. So I was like, all of these forces are aligning on the same no moment, the same now moment, whatever. right? But because they came out like running into each other, this is what we like actually got. Right? So the null of the high priestess is still there, but the null of the Queen of Cups got filled because it was the third card before the Two of Swords, and then I had to like build the Two of Swords off in that direction. Right. So that's why I was like, how do I even put the cards down? That's what they look like on the table, but actual cards instead of like numbers. So if you compare, oh gosh, I did it again. I gotta use two fingers. If you compare what we got, this is what we actually got. This is like the nice and neat thing that it was supposed to look like, but that's what we got. So that's why I'm saying it's like the axes have shifted. The Queen of Cups shifted the axis one in the positive X direction, but the Two of Swords shifted it three in the negative direction. But it's actually positive. The only reason why it's not positive is because of how I laid out the cards. So that's actually on me. Right? No. Gosh. Whenever I try to do anything with High Priestess energy, I don't know why I ever think it'll be something necessarily simple or straightforward or doable. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, it's better than other times. So I think I am going to restructure these because it should have built up. Yeah. Right? Yes, it should have been like this. And then the Three of Pentacles, and then the Ten of Pentacles. Because we're building in the positive Y direction. And then it would have been, see, but now it runs into my laptop. So I guess I can do it like this. And I can like stack them like that to give them some kind of flat verticality. Okay. So the Queen of Cups shifted it one in the positive X direction, and the Two of Swords shifted it three in the positive Y direction. Girl, it's fine. It's fine. Who was before the High Priestess? The Nine of Pentacles. Well, technically, it was the King of Pentacles. Oh, Nine of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. That's actually interesting because the Nine of Pentacles is minor Empress, is pre Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is pre Empress. So, but it's interesting that the Nine of Pentacles preceded the King of Pentacles instead of the Nine of Pentacles preceding the Queen of Pentacles. And that feels significant. We also have the King of Swords, though. And this is the same King of Swords that was that mental clarity earlier. So yeah, like I was like it's tied to whatever came out earlier in ways that will make my brain explode. But it's because of this mental clarity that things have shifted vertically, like to the degree. And again, when I clarified that, it went from the King of Swords sitting amidst these dissipating clouds to the hermit that was standing above the clouds. So I shouldn't be surprised that like the axis has been elevated. I shouldn't be surprised that this isn't starting at like ground level, right? Also, it takes me back to like every time we saw the skyscraper or the rooftop garden, I think, in the Places Oracle, and it was this like this higher vantage point. With this higher vantage point, I would assume no, because it's 13 pentacles. Oh, my brain. So after the Queen of Cups, we have the Three of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles, which is 13 Pentacles. The 13th card in the suit of Pentacles is the Queen. So our higher level intuition, because I guess you could say the Two of Swords is our base level discernment, the Queen of Cups is our higher intuition, and then the High Priestess is what we're supposed to, the understanding we're supposed to reach if we get all the clues. If we notice all the clues and connect all the dots in the right way, then, you know, whatever. The higher intuition projects us to be in the position of the Queen of Pentacles. The High Priestess, and again, going purely off the number, not masculine, feminine, whatever, progression in the suit, the High Priestess actually sees us beyond the Queen of Pentacles as this king. Also, I'll take the Empress as confirmation of that because because the Queen of Pentacles is pre Empress energy. So, either way, we're sitting beyond Queen of Pentacles energy, even if that's sort of like where we project ourselves to be. Now, the Two of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles isn't necessarily too far off from the King of Pentacles, necessarily. She's a lot further from the Empress, but still. The Empress already came out, so, you know, only got one card of each in the standard deck, right? So, with the Two of Swords, our base level of discernment, we can see how intuitive we are, and we can see or understand the proximity of how like actually aligned our intuition and discernment is to the truth of things. We can see how closely related to the Queen of Cups, or how closely related to the High Priestess this Queen of Cups is, which is like our higher faculties. Right. And through that, it's like we're able to discern, unlike the Devil, the Four of Cups, and whatever that other card was earlier, the High Priestess. It was the High Priestess. Unlike the Devil, the Four of Cups, and the High Priestess, it's like we're able to discern which one of those offers is the right one. And we know that if we continue to make the right choices and decisions at the right time, eventually we will build this great legacy, right? That's how the Three of Pentacles leads us to the Ten of Pentacles. And we trust our intuition to do that for us, right? Because the Queen of Cups is here to fill that gap. Now, projecting out into the future, we have the Six of Wands, Justice, and the Six of Cups. We know that the more we achieve, whatever success looks like for you, whatever achievement looks like for you, the more you continue on your path, the more things will line up in the ways that they're meant to. Like things always line up. Always is a bold word. That's a bold statement to make. Things sometimes line up in the ways that they're supposed to when it comes to justice. And we may think that we are whoever or whatever. Um, but sometimes us not winning is justice, especially if we've done like shady things, you know. If we, well, everyone else does this, everyone else, blah, 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 whatever. But for us to be so divinely, intuitively connected and discerning or whatever, like when we elevate ourselves or declare whatever for ourselves, then we're held to that standard that we put ourselves at, right? If someone comes in and claims to be super knowledgeable and in charge, of course you're going to hold them to a different standard than the person that comes in as a newbie, right? You come in understanding you're going to have to train the new person. You're going to have to devote some time, energy, and effort to their development. At the same time, you would expect to not have to do as much or anything for the one that claims to already know and have it all. So, again, like that's this Seven of Pentacles and Tower energy. Seven of Pentacles doesn't work for the Empress because she's the Empress. The Seven of Pentacles is for the newbies, right? The Seven of Pentacles is for the people that put themselves at that station. If we declare, decree, sovereign this, sovereign that, right? That's us putting ourselves to that standard. So anyway, that's irrelevant because the Six of Wands is here. Six of Wands, Justice, and the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups feels like it refers to something earlier. And I feel like the thing that it refers to that's earlier, this is how I'm reading it today. It's the past and the spread. This is that Three of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, sitting at the position of the Queen of Pentacles energy. Right? So it is on one hand of the Two of Swords, it's almost like seeing this path to success. On the other side of the Two of Swords, it's actually progressing down that path to be successful. Again, with the void of the High Priestess here, what is actually attained and achieved is going to be beyond what one understands. It feels like the Six of Pentacles, especially coming after Justice, also limits. It's a limiter in a way because it sets the bar to something or somewhere that we've already experienced once before. The Eight of Wands after the outside the window of this Two of Swords is interesting because that's an energy of like it's not going to take as long as we may intuit, as we may feel it taking, and it's like we're going to get there quicker and go further, or whoever this resonates for is going to get there quicker and go further. And so the moon at the bottom of the deck here, it's kind of like it's not necessarily good or bad. The moon just speaks to like the more that exists outside our realm of whatever. It's almost like the tip of the iceberg, right? So you have this big chunky thing in the energetic, subtle, spiritual, ethereal, whatever, that is coming into super dense reality. Again, she's giving like it's fine. Um, as it is like descending into the world, or as it is manifesting and coming out of the ground, it's like we perceive so much of it, but it's the tip of the iceberg. There's actually so much more. Like the thing is so dense, or the thing is so dense that, again, there is so much of it that lies outside of our realm of perception because it extends that far into the veil. But the way that the cards came out, it feels that like it's very aligned, almost as aligned as humanly possible, right? It shifted the scales 2 times. And it actually builds into tomorrow. But the thing about the high priestess is weird because usually the past is to the left and the future is on the right. But in high priestess time, it's like the our future is her past, and our past is what she's seeing as the future. But she's the high priestess, so past, present, and future are kind of sort of all the same moment or whatever. And I said I could do this. I don't know how much this would add, but oof, I feel like this was a long way to get. I feel like a lot of these things, sure, it's like by the end of it, it's like it comes full circle or whatever, but it just seems like this was a long way and a grocery stop to get to where we were basically in the beginning. You know what I mean? To get to where we started. Well, let's see. And we're going to run all. Okay. She's taking a second. I did click it, right? There we go. Okay, I didn't click it. Come on. Oh, I was about to say it should not take that long to run. So there's no element. Judgment and the lovers, that's interesting. Because so it was judgment and temperance. And I was like, this is 2 of the 3 cards where we see the angel. The lovers is the 3rd card, I believe, where you see like full wings angel. It's not like strength where you can perceive the lady as an angel. I guess you see the icon of the angel in the world card, but to see like the actual angel, like face, upper torso, and wings, judgment, temperance, and the lovers. So it's interesting that judgment and the lovers is here. For that reason, no element, but we got Cancer, Sacral, Third Eye, the Initiate of Souls, and the Two of Zones. The Initiate of Souls, I'm not surprised about because, again, the reason why I'm pulling this High Priestess spread was because of the spark. That was the sun that caused everything to reestablish these like different gravitational orbits. So I guess within the reestablishment of these gravitational orbits, I shouldn't be surprised if our intuition discernment heightens to the point where it does shift us off of that null point of like 000, right? We shifted in the Z direction in terms of like depth with the intuition and discernment, and we've also shifted in the positive Y direction in terms of like scope or oversight or undersight or whatever, right? No, goodness, I'm sorry. The depth is the same. Well, it's because they came out so close. it's it's hard. We shifted in the X direction in terms of like future sight. We shifted in the Y direction because of the Two of Swords, but because this is connected, because it's like it runs this way and then it branches up. So technically, the z-axis hasn't shifted, but because the z-axis is connected to the y-axis and the y-axis has shifted, it has. Anyway, if the whole spark and things coming online, I'm not surprised that the intuition, discernment, whatever, has shifted, right? Um, the sacral, the third eye, that sacral being there, that's this empress energy. But it's almost like empress energy if she created like the magician. Like usually I've heard, and this was like years ago, so people may reference it different now, but back when I was in my earlier days, it was like the magician is the manifester, the creator, the magic maker. The empress is the receiver, the manifester in that way. The empress will manifest in the way of receiving things. The magician will manifest in the way of creating things. This is not a receptive empress energy. It's a creative, expressive empress energy that is so wild to even try to. I feel like it's like at the tip of my understanding. Like I can almost find a visual to represent her energy, but can I communicate it? No. And it's different because I almost wanted to say it's like an empress energy that sits in the position of the emperor, but it's not an empress that's behaving as an emperor. And then we have the third eye. So I guess in that way, it's almost like it's an empress that's able to see where a gap is and fill it. The phrase nature abhors a vacuum is coming to mind. And yeah, because like if we're manifesting things, they have to have somewhere to go, right? If you think of like manifestation as moving things into a house, you only have so much space within a house. You can develop your mental, emotional, spiritual capacity. Piscean energy is good for that, like dream bigger, basically. Or you can utilize the space more effectively, like on the Virgo side of that axis. But usually it's easy for us to be limited by our capacity to see, believe, witness, experience, expect, stuff like that. If you build a bigger house, you can hold more stuff and you can bring in bigger items. But it's like this empress is able to like determine spaces and create within those spaces or fill those spaces. And it's very like voidy because this is an empress that sees space before things like even occupy that space. But this is like ethereal space. So any thought, any desire, any whatever feeling, like things like that occupy space. So to be able to perceive an area where there is no thought, no feeling, no desire, that is completely void, and to be able to create there, I don't know. No, take it as it resonates. I ain't even going to try to make this one. I'm not going to try to ground this one or bring it down because it's my brain is already barely, whatever. And because of the cards that's here, of course, it's probably greater than even me trying to articulate or reach or whatever intuit discern, because it's like, again, the Queen of Cups is close to the High Priestess, but the Queen of Cups is like right behind what is behind the High Priestess. If she were right behind the High Priestess, then, the High Priestess would be filling this gap, and she's not. Just like the Queen of Cups was in the window of the Two of Swords, that's why she's on the table filling that gap. Anyway, so that's this like sacral third eye, and I guess you could even say Cancer energy. The initiative souls, I'm not surprised by, because again, that goes back to the last reading. Um, because, and I don't know if they're the same or if they're different. If they're the same, then first we would find this anchor black hole nucleus to bring everything or to maintain it within a certain general radius. But then when that turns into a sun, it becomes a luminous. There you go. I was like, illuminative, illuminating. When it turns into a sun, it becomes luminous, and it creates like orbits rather than this slow pull towards oblivion. Um, but because of the luminosity of it, I'm not surprised that the initiative souls is here. The two of zones is interesting, but it feels like it's this intersection of, it could be an intersection or it could be a difficulty in finding the overlap between these two things. Um, right? Because we know that the way that things operate in spirit is different, relatively different from how they operate in the material plane. It seems like a lot of times we come into Empress magiciandom, we learn the laws of manifestation and this and that to use spiritual machinations, operations, methodologies, pathways to influence the physical. So it's like it abandons the knowing of the physical for the knowing of the spiritual, subtle, and energetic, believing or knowing that the spiritual, subtle, energetic has an influence on the physical. But it's almost like it trades one for another. This two of zones energy, it holds an understanding of both. And because it holds an understanding of both, it comes into an even greater knowledge and awareness of the process as a whole. Right? It's like if you look at something downstream and then you go like, oh, we're having issues down here. We've done everything we can think to do downstream. So let's go upstream of the process and see if there's anything up there. And it's like while you're upstream, you can account for so many things. And then things downstream sort of tend to go how you expect because you do all this upstream. But when you look at like both downstream and upstream, it's almost like if you were looking at a process because it was your job or whatever, you're whoever. And it's not until you look at both upstream and downstream of some kind of process, of something, some part of a process, that you realize that like we could completely revolutionize the entirety of this process. We can do things completely different. And it's almost like you have to step back and get the whole thing in mind rather than focusing on one or the other to see those moments where, and I feel like that's why it's this null elemental energy. Because when you look upstream and downstream, it's like you get an idea of the process as a whole, but it's like beyond the process, right? It's neither physical nor spiritual. It is the thing that precedes both. because even spiritual, energetic, subtle things must come from somewhere, right? It's what exists before the mind. The all is mind, the universe is mental, but there is something that precedes even the mind, because where do thoughts come from? You know? Anyway. Well, that's how she's feeling. Um, what do I know? Who am I? It also almost reads though like the two of zones is also the energy of the two of air, which would be the two of swords, which is interesting because she's minor high priestess energy for me. But yeah, it's really feeling like it's this difficulty in like finding where this and that are true, finding where one supports the other rather than like debunks or disputes or overrides. And there are some ways it's almost like it's giving me like sine cosine waves, where it's like at some points it's more spiritual, at some points it's more physical. She's giving me like electromagnetic waves, right? But I mean, usually there's like on one axis you'll have this electric component, and then on the other axis you'll have this like magnetic component. So if there's like a third axis, I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. What is this? Who knows? Just 2 hours of me just doing whatever, putting groceries away. um, and I guess I also, and this and that are true, and the void that this Empress energy sits in, it is giving me now as I'm like re-looking at these, it's giving me like the other side of the coin, right? So I'll talk about how in this universe, light exists and heat exists. So darkness is the absence of light, cold is the absence of heat. But what if there is a universe where cold exists and darkness exists? So that hot is the absence of cold and bright is the absence of darkness. And so this two of zones, it's like it's sitting at this border between the way that our universe is made up and operates and that of another, where it recognizes both light and dark exist, both hot and cold exist, or heat and whatever the equivalent coldness would be. But while we're operating in both light and dark exists, it's also true that there is some darkness that is the absence of light, and there is some brightness that is the absence of darkness, because that's the other side of the coin in those two things. It's like one doesn't negate the other. And so usually it's like as we go from like a more physical understanding to a more spiritual, energetic, subtle understanding, it's almost like we chop off those ends somewhere because of how things are set up. We also, again, I don't know. This is an energy that sits at the precipice, at the cusp between multiple worlds, dimensions, makeups. Again, that's why there's no element here. It precedes the element. It is both all the elements and none of them and stuff like that. Right. What does this mean? I don't know. So if I go to the growth metaphor, this is actually interesting because so we're speaking of cultivation, right? So on one hand, we know that plants have light and dark cycles. During the day, they photosynthesize, they do this. At night, they do the other thing, right? It doesn't necessarily matter what they do. it's almost like when we trade one understanding for the other, it's like again. Is it Mercury might be direct now? I don't know. I don't follow. I hear people talk about it. I get notifications on my phone from Astro Matrix, like this transit is happening, but I don't follow it like I used to. Um, but it's almost like, so there is the part. So if we take it in stages, right? It is within the machination of our world that in the daytime plants photosynthesize because they take the energy in light because light is, and then at night where there is less light or where there is no light they do the process where light isn't. And it feels like there's the other side of the coin that will almost maintain the cycles but flip them. So now, since we know that darkness is, it's like during the daytime where there is no darkness, it essentially does what it would do at night. But at night, since darkness is, now it's photo is light. What is light? Dark. I feel like Nyx is coming to my mind. It's doing dark cycles because darkness is. So it's like it does the same thing, but it just flips it 12 hours. It flips the circadian rhythm, right? But it feels like there's this, it's sitting at the initiative souls right now. So it's not the sage or the teacher or even the scholar. It's the initiate. Um, it's like during the daytime, light is. So we photosynthesize during the day, and then at nighttime, darkness is. So we anti photosynthesize at night. So this plant is like always on. The Empress is to the level now where it's like she's beyond just plain ordinary photosynthesis. Either way, whether she's on the other side of the coin or beyond it, right? Or whether she's looking at the coin as this thing on the table rather than being on one side or the other of the coin. Um, it's like there's this period where during the daytime, light is, at night, dark is. So it's always on. And it feels like there's some time or there's some gap in understanding that is met when we realize that the processes that happen at night are also important. And so this thing can't always be on because when it's off, it's still doing work, right? Or when it's off, it is doing the follow up, it's doing the part two of the process. And so the vibe is this Empress energy does like runs both processes at the same time. And again, it's the two of stones, so it's her coming to terms with this in her mind. Maybe it's like a metaphor for utilizing both like matter and antimatter or whatever, girl. I don't know. At the same time, who knows? But it's like there's this process where during the daytime, the Empress runs the photosynthetic cycles, but she also runs the anti off cycles. And then at nighttime, she's running the off cycles while simultaneously running the anti photosynthetic cycles. Like, it feels like that at least gets the initiate to the scholar, gets the page to the knight before the king or queen, where it can run both sort of like simultaneously, but also still find the space to allow the off cycles because if there's no off cycle, nothing gets built, nothing is maintained, nothing is stored. Oh, so Mercury is not direct yet. Okay, cool. I just need an excuse to be all over the place. I'm glad you gave me one. Thank you. um, Yeah. So it's like the simpler version that came to mind earlier was like we can't. It's fine. Just it's fine. Cool. Take this as it resonates. If it resonates, if it don't resonate, don't take it. Again, what does this mean? How does this apply in real life or in any version of life? What does it mean energetically? Girl, I don't know. I just pull the cards and read them and let my brain go and hope that some intuition, discernment, and connection can fill the gaps. But within this metaphor, or within the telling of this, the black hole is simultaneously a sun. So was that? I think that was like Interstellar, right? Where there's something that exists on the other side of the black hole. It's like if there were, I guess you could say it's like if black holes were portals to like alternate dimensions, right? So you go in one side and you emerge on the other side. But this energy sits in the middle of the black hole to the point where it simultaneously exists on both sides as a single unified body, object, entity, whatever. It's not polarized within itself, or it's not one way on one side of the black hole and another way on the other side. But because it sits at both, it can utilize things almost like things that shouldn't be able to work. And if that's not magic, I don't know what is. But anyway, I'm just saying. I didn't expect this. Again, I never when I was doing the practice, whatever though, to test the layout, it was like, girl, what is this? I'm like, you know what? It ain't about reading it right now. It's about trying to see how I'm gonna get this on the table. And then it still ended up being some kind of hybrid between where did the King of Pentacles go? Where's the where's the King of Pentacles? I look down, I see the Two of Wands, the King of Swords, the Queen of Cups. I see like this, but I don't see the King of Pennies. Did he fall? Oh, no, that's the moon. Under the moon is the Queen of Wands and strength. Does she have angel wings? No, she doesn't have angel wings. Under the moon is pre sun energy, which is interesting. Um, it's fine. Oh, here he is. He ended up on the floor face down, like way back here. Cool. All right. I almost want to roll one more as a before and after, but I don't think so. I feel like Cancer is the one thing that hasn't necessarily Cancer, Judgment, and the Lovers. But besides the fact that we now see all three cards where an angel is represented, Judgment, because Judgment is like birth and rebirth or the afterlife, a revival. It is giving um, to be born, not born above. But kinda, right? If judgment is an energy that bridges life and death, but whatever we are, it's like with judgment, you're not reborn into the same world or life that you left, right? But judgment is the anchor between the lovers and temperance. But because of that, because when Temperance was there, I was like, what is Temperance doing like on Earth? Because the Lovers is on the other side of Judgment, it almost feels like something would have never worked before. And it gives me like an anime where someone is reborn. It gives me a show where there's like a gap in time, or there's some huge event, like what someone so deeply knew they weren't ever going to find in their past life or in the other version of the world. They were always called to this life that they were reborn into, or this the world that exists after some kind of happening. Cancer is like the only thing. And yes, Cancer is like the mother, it's the moon, Empress energy is here. I feel like it's something with Cancer being the moon. And we have the moon here. I could look before and after the Chariot to try to get some kind of clarity. We don't have any 2, 3, 4 cups on the table. I feel like Cancer has something to do with the moon, but it's like not the moon. I guess it's more like a satellite. Oh. So I don't know where this train is going, but this is the thought line express that I'm on right now. This is the neural pathway that we're going down. And if I keep talking, I'll lose it. But I can't stop talking. So it's like we have the moon, right? And we go from full moon to new moon. We know now that the moon is reflective. Everything in our solar system reflects the light of the sun. We only see any of it in our solar system because it's reflecting sunlight back to the earth. Now, other stars produce their own light, and that's how we can see them. We're talking about the moon and how it goes from dark to light. It's almost like, again, we live in this world where light is. And so when the moon is positioned in a way that it reflects more light, the most light, it's a full moon. More light, it's mostly full. No light, it's a new moon, it's dark. But it's almost like we simultaneously exist in this other reality that we may not have, that we have varying levels of conscious awareness of. But when the moon is new, it's actually reflecting the light of this anti sun. It's like there's a sun in the world where light is, but there's also a sun in the world where darkness is. So it's a celestial body that emanates darkness, like our sun emanates light. And the moon sits in our reality, but it faces both. And so when we have a new moon, it's actually a full moon in this anti-sun whatever, and the moon going through its 28 and a half, I think, day cycle is like going from full on one side to full on the other side and all of the shades in between. Like that's what I'm getting from Cancer. What does that mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? Oops. Even the moon here, you know, it's like there's the moon, but then you see the sun behind the moon. Girl, I don't know. I could like do these again. Sure, I'm gonna do it one more time, but I want to screen grab these so I actually remember. And I know it's not called the snipping tool anymore, but I mean it is. But they'll be like, "Oh, we have this new way to screen grab." Okay, I guess she ain't saying nothing. For a while, it was like, "Oh, snipping tool has moved to whatever." It's like, just let me keep the snipping tool. Maybe they gave up. Maybe like Fetch, they realized it would never happen. Okay. So we still have this. And I will pop this up on the screen for you lovely folks at home. So we'll say what's today? 2 4 29. 29? 2 4 25. Oof. Just jumped 4 years in the future. I'm like, hold up, 29. Where did 29 come from? All right, give me one moment. Uno momento to create a new image, which is this one right here. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, it's literally right here. I was like, come on now. I know where I saved you. Don't act like this. I made sure I paid attention to know exactly which directory this file would be going to. Exactly which folder. Cool. All right. So I have saved, screen snipped, and I have put on the screen the results that we have right now. I'm going to re-roll the dice virtually to find out more about this Cancer energy, I guess. Oh my gosh! No way. Oh, and it's still elementless. I love that it's still elementless. I love that it's still unaspected. Cool! Because it's almost like this voidy whatever. It's interesting that now we have like three: Taurus, Pisces, and Capricorn. There's actually, so Pisces is the middle of that Earth trine between Capricorn and Taurus. So we have this 2 sign hop, skip, and jump, or a hop and a skip, from Taurus actually back to Pisces. But that's how the nodes progress. The nodes progress retrograde. There is no major energy. I love that Gemini and the Two of Realms is here because Gemini is giving the twins. The Two of Realms is giving like two different sort of realms, realities, dimensions, and the moon, that Cancer energy felt like the moon that was facing both of them simultaneously. Love it. Also, we have every element here except for air. We have earth, fire, and water. We've already seen the air and the two of zones. And I guess we had fire last time too. Six of Pentacles is actually not here now, but we saw the Six of Pentacles earlier. I didn't even realize that. We saw the Six of Pentacles, Six of Wands, and the Six of Cups. The Six of Swords is the only one that we haven't seen today. Anyway. Sacral and third eye. So both the sacral and third eye have appeared in one position where we saw it. I don't know why I keep going. I don't know why I just don't end this somewhere where it's relatively neat. But I was curious. We have sacral and third eye here now, and the sacral there. So Pisces is giving me the two fish. Much like Gemini, there's one that swims on one side and one that swims on the other side, and they are connected by their tails, I think, by this rope or whatever. The two fish are connected. The moon, Gemini, two of realms, would be the sort of like bridge between these two realities, or would be the thing that appears in both. Right. Then we have the Ace of Souls. We actually saw the Ace of Wands with the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, it was the Ace of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. And those were at the cut under because on one side it was Dreamland, the Ten of Wands, the Tower. On the other side it was the Sun, the Nine of Cups, and the World. And then under those was the Six of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. And I was like, it almost feels like while we're doing whatever Six of Pentacles thing we have to be doing that is necessary, we're presented with this Ace of Wands. So it's interesting to see the Ace of Wands, Six of Pentacles energy here again. Actually, I'll take that back. That's the Two of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is here on the table. I effed it all up. I'm sorry. Mercury's still retrograde. What do you expect from me? I'm kidding. So that's the Six of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. We actually have the Six of Cups on the table. The Six of Cups was on the other side of justice. Which makes that Judgment and the Lovers so interesting. Anyway. That makes sense. Because originally with the Ace of Souls and the Six of Essences, when I was thinking of it as the Six of Earth rather than the Six of Water, it felt like one soul that is split, living like six different lives, mostly unaware of each other, in whatever Hollywood or whatever way where you see a character that exists across multiple timelines. Oh my gosh! Did I knock the King of Pentacles off the table again? But it exists in whatever way. Sometimes it's like there's one character that tries to take out all of their other versions so they could be the only one. But I think, if I recall, well, I guess in both ways, in everything everywhere all at once, they were like tapping into. I feel like was Jobu to whoever he. Anyway, it was originally coming out as one soul that is split across six like bodies. Rather, however that works for people who believe in, subscribe to, follow whatever the what do you like a soul group or like an oversoul. Like there are different people who are like all pieces of a greater soul. Like their soul is a piece of a greater soul. It could be that. It could be someone who's living across six like timelines, whatever. But with it being the Six of Essences, it's essentially the same, but not necessarily. Oh. It's essentially, I was going to say it's essentially the same, but not necessarily embodied. And all this is like this Cancerian energy, supposed to be, supposedly. Now the Ace of Souls and Six of Essences, it's feeling like, um, I mean, I guess it's similar to the parallel realities thing. It's like there are six faces of the same soul, right? So, like, let's say in a person's life, there are six major roles or six major functions that they occupy. And a major function or a major role defined as something that is substantially different. Right. So, like, when one person is in one arena environment, they call upon different skills, quirks, whatever, than another one. Right. The same way that you show up as a mom isn't necessarily the way that you show up as a friend, is the way that you necessarily show up as a professional, is the same as you necessarily show up as a whatever else you do. Right. So, it's like these six different faces of the same soul. Now, not all of these faces occupy the same realm. You could say there's like the waking you and then the subconscious you, right? There's the you that does everything that you do in the waking world. And then maybe if you're a dreamer and you're active in your dreams, there's the you that operates in like your dreams. Or like, let's say that you're a creative, but for some reason there's a division between like the creative side of you and other sides of you. And so there are key things that you express in your creativity, in your creations, and what you put out in the world. And then there are other things that you express in other forms. Like it's basically like two different realities, whatever. There's a significant, at least two, like this and this. And within these two, at least, realms, there's a split of the six. So maybe you're like five over here and one over here, or three over here, or three over there, whatever the mix is, right? So, like in your creative life, there are certain outlets for your creativity, and then in the rest of your life, there are like things for that. Anyway, the Gemini here is like you are the same person, just like the moon is the same across these different sort of like realms of the sun and the anti-sun, because I don't know what else to call it. Right? Like matter, antimatter, sun, anti-sun, photosynthetic, anti-photosynthetic, off, anti-off. Now the Taurus, Pisces, Capricorn, Pisces, it's still, I'm thinking of like the thread or the rope that ties the two fish together. There is some kind of uniting factor or something that exists effectively as a bridge between these two different things. If we go two lines above, it would be the soul, right? Because it's one soul, regardless of how it manifests. The Taurus and the Capricorn is interesting here. I know Uranus is still in Taurus. What's in Capricorn? Nothing. I'm like, why did I think that something was in Capricorn? Capricorn, it's almost like Capricorn's almost giving me the foundation in that Saturnian way. Taurus, I don't know. What's that second house? Second house, 10th house. Sacral and third eye. So the sacral, just like judgment before, the sacral is this oh well, sacral, the ace of souls. I guess in that way, it's not surprising. Just through, English language at the very least. But the sacral is so interesting here because it feels like if the sacral weren't alone where it is, it feels like the sacral pulls more weight to one side than the other. Like everything above feels fairly evenly balanced or like teetering at the very least. But the sacral is this extra weight where I expect it to be in a way that's not like how I expected it last time. But also, this holds both. Mm. So, how this is evolving in my mind, there are multiple essences that meet at the soul. We had the two of zones earlier, which was like struggling or the beginning of the connection between like this solar world or photic world and an anti-photic world, the material world and the anti-material world. But because it's all one soul, it's like there's the part of you that already operates on this other side in this other realm, right? And so it's this meeting of the selves where I feel like it can go multiple ways. Sometimes it's just this like a seamless integration. And it's like everything that the me that operated within that realm, like all the knowledge, memories, information, abilities, whatever. All right, see you, Kirsty. Thanks for stopping by. It's been like 2.5 hours. I appreciate the company. And yeah, I'll catch you later. I was just thinking, I was like, oof, it's been 2.5 hours. And it's like lunchtime. It's past lunchtime. I need to eat, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yes, I'll see you soon. I'm excited. And I hope you keep well. And things get better and better. Excuse me. So sometimes it's like a seamless blending and integration. Sometimes it's a fight for dominance and supremacy to be the only self. It feels like worlds are colliding, but they're off center. It's like one world is more progressed or advanced than the other world in some ways, at the very least. Because like with the Taurus energy of like being fixed earth, being well established, being like running like a well-oiled machine, but with the Capricorn energy of being in some kind of like infancy, or and it's not necessarily infancy because I know like according to the will Taurus is younger than Capricorn. But because Capricorn speaks to the foundations of something, it's almost like something that is completed on one side is being initiated on the other. Right. So, like, let's say within the realms of like creativity and not like this could be someone who is well established or well used to operating in certain spheres, but not necessarily in others. But there's enough of an overlap because, like, you are the same person. There are strengths and abilities that are transferable that can still be used in this different realm in this different arena in non-creative matters or vice versa. And that's this Pisces that's sitting in between Capricorn and Taurus. And again, with the sacral being alone here, it feels like this is the standard Empress in the way that she manifests. I don't know why sacral is giving me Empress energy today. You know, usually the sacral is like the seat of creativity and stuff like that, you know. Where did that King of Pentacles go? All right, that's it. I'm done. I feel like that tied itself up, but I don't know if I necessarily communicated it in that way. So basically, the Cancerian energy here is that although someone may be struggling to find where things overlap and to see a bigger picture, um, it's like there are parts of themselves that are already engaged in these other realms. It's like something that's highly transferable, right? And maybe because the moon and the Queen of Wands. Oh, this whole side of the deck is face up. I was like, hold up. Why am I seeing faces? Ah! There goes the moon. The moon has fallen out. But maybe that's this too, right? Because, like, there's the wolf on one side and the dog on the other side, the lobster, which is Scorpio, which is death. Thank you, Holly. I appreciate it. It was, excuse me, the lobster taking this path between the dog and the wolf. It's very much this energy. The road is the rope that ties the two different fish together. It's like there's this realm in between. It's like when tectonic plates come together and then they like can push upward or whatever. When two things come together and they push upward, they break into a new dimension type of energy. And I guess all of that was hiding within Cancer. Because at some level, everything, at some level, again, it's like there's one soul, one heart, effectively. And so Cancer here, because again, it was like the judge or temperance, judgment, the lovers. There's something that wasn't possible in an old world or in an old life, but it's not necessarily to abandon or forget all of the things that we learned in that past life. Because in some ways, in a lot of ways, it's all of those events happening, circumstances, experiences. There's the sun again, that prepare us for whatever is for us to do here. I'm shuffling these cards like the King of Pentacles is here. The King of Pentacles fell behind me again. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. I love the sun. Eight of Pentacles and the Sun. I ain't trying to do reversals. All right. I am not going to do a final roll on this thing because I'll be here for another hour just trying to interpret. But I will do final cards. Oh, gosh. So many. I'm not taking all of these, but I will acknowledge them. The Two of Wands, the Fool, the Ace of Cups, and the Three of Cups. So the Two of Wands is leaving the domain of fire to step into the water, right? With that Fool energy. But the two from the Two of Wands adds to the Ace to get the Three of Cups. So again, there's something from the past that can be used in the future or in the present. Again, this is that energy that was the Empress when she gets to the phase of like, she does the photosynthetic cycles and the anti-photosynthetic cycles for a while. She's like running both, but this thing, it never hits the off cycle. So something never reaches maturation or completion. She has to run the off cycle and the anti-off cycle at the same time that she's running the anti-photosynthetic and photosynthetic cycle. Whatever that means. And then we have Justice, the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and the Chariot. What? But there's too many cards that came out. I'm not even going to try with that one. Take it as it resonates. Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups, though. Love that. That Ten of Cups, it's giving me a land where all aspects, all essences of the same soul sort of like reside. Right. I think that was a movie. I don't remember what the movie was called. There was a movie with people who were like reborn, like people who were reincarnated, and they had like the skills. I think it was after they reached a certain age, or there was something that they had to do in order for the recollection to happen. Otherwise, they're just living a life, you know? But then, like, if they remember, they can tap into like the skills of previous lifetimes. So, like, if you were a blacksmith in one lifetime, or actor in another one, or whatever in whatever other one, it's like able to tap into all of that. Oh, look, now the King of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. All right, final card, please. Like a 3-card maximum, 1 preferred, 2 is permissible. All right. The Page of Swords with the Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Under the Two of Wands is the Queen of Cups. Under the Queen of Cups is the Seven of Pentacles. Under the Seven of Pentacles is that Ace of Pentacles, the one that's at his feet. Right there. Is this low-key a read? I feel like the Page of Swords and the Two of Wands. It's almost like these are events like the whole 2 hours, 44 minutes, and 49 seconds up to now. It's almost like something that's happening for somebody somewhere who, I mean, if you resonate with this, you resonate with this, right? But it's almost like a glimpse into a different life, or a glimpse into a different reality, a glimpse into, at least for me, something that may not personally resonate, especially to the depth or to the level that I was trying to just dig and decipher. Because it's almost like, oh, let's take a break from what we're doing to look over here and see what's going on with this person. Also, it's the Page of Swords on this card too. I don't think I finished. And the Vice Versa Tarot, I think on the back of the Page of Swords, there's like a storm, but you see birds that are flying through the storm. And it was how those birds give the Page of Swords a pathway through the storm, or they are his like guiding light or synchronicity or sign to navigate through the storm. And this Page of Swords, you see the birds as well. Now, this could also be a way to navigate around whatever this confusion is. It feels like this is like either this is stationary and the Page of Swords was heading into the storm, or the storm. Yeah, either way, the Page of Swords was heading into the storm, but this on the side of the birds is like the way to get around it. But the Two of Wands is again looking at the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups was right on the heels of the High Priestess and within the window of the Two of Swords. The Queen of Cups is she's on it this time. But again, with the Ace of Pentacles behind the Seven of Pentacles, we saw the Tower on the other side. These six that may look like they're growing now, this is the one for the Seven of Pentacles to like focus on, or whatever that used to, however things used to go down, there's a tower that's coming. The tower will be coming for the Six of Pentacles rather than this Ace. Right? But again, so in that way, this could also be like, again, your intuition, discernment, getting you through a long night, navigating you around some kind of storm or heaviness, also giving clarity when there's so much confusion. And clarity amidst confusion doesn't necessarily always mean that you know everything, but you know enough to be good. But there was a gap between the Two of Wands and the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles that was just at the bottom of the deck. Right? The gap that was left by the High Priestess. So, anyway. Thank y'all for stopping by, Holly. It was nice to see you and Kirsty and my number one fan. I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this, whoever that sees this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and what you find. And yeah, I should have known that this wasn't going to be easy. I was just like, what was that? Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to read it, but we can put these up here for you to take as it resonates. Right. Let's do this one more time. Why not? What if I was just like, what if they're all zero? Wow. So we got Leo, Virgo, heart and third eye. So whatever Leo, Virgo, heart and third eye means to you, there you go.